Today I'm talking about the Pegasus 37 versus the Hoka Clifton 7. .57 miles, 8 minutes, 27 seconds per mile, 146 beats per minute today in the Hoka Clifton 7. Going for a similar, although slightly different route in the Pegasus 37 the day before so that I can compare these two shoes head to head. These are two highly anticipated daily trainers that have hit the market in 2020 and I'm very excited to be comparing them. But before I get into that, I do want to go over some disclosures. Both of these shoes are shoes that I purchased with my own money. No one sent it to me. No one's going to reimburse me for any purchase price. And no one's gonna get a chance to preview any of my footage or thoughts before you guys get a chance to see this video on YouTube. Now, the disclosures out of the way, let's talk about the Pegasus 37 versus the Hoka Clifton 7. Now, with the Pegasus 37, we've got a 9.6 ounce shoe. So coming in pretty heavy this year, a lot heavier than last year. Still has that 10 millimeter drop, leaving us with 18 millimeters of stack height in the forefoot, which is a decent amount for a daily trainer. But this year, the big news is that it's an all React midsole, at least in terms of the foam. There's still Zoom Air in it. After all, it's a Zoom Air Pegasus, but the Zoom Air pocket is very different. We've only got one in the forefoot, but it's a big one, and it's gonna be different kind of densities or PSI depending on whether you're getting the men's or the women's version. The men's version getting a little bit more pressure in the air pocket due to the differences in height and weight. With the Clifton 7, we've got a bunch more midsole foam. This shoe is about the comfort for your daily training. It's got 27 millimeters of stack height compared to the Pegasus's 18 in the forefoot. And it's got a 5 millimeter drop, leaving it still with 32 millimeters of stack height in the heel. So a bunch of EVA foam, and sitting on top of that is an Ortholite liner. This package though, even with all that extra foam, still comes in way lighter than the Pegasus 37, with the Clifton 7 coming in at 9.1 ounces, so half an ounce lighter than its competitor in this battle. So how do I think these two shoes stack up? I think that both of these shoes are fantastic daily trainers, and they're both shoes that I've been recommending to people pretty much as soon as I've run in either one of these. And before I was able to run in the Clifton 7, which was relatively recent this year, I've been recommending the Clifton 6 to a bunch of people as well. But the type of people that I'll recommend them to will differ depending on the way that I think these two shoes kind of stack up. The way that I see it primarily is I think of the Pegasus 37 as more of your short distance daily trainer. People who aren't necessarily out there training for marathons or half marathons. Maybe they're just getting into running, or they're looking for something that's a little bit faster. Maybe they're a little bit younger, running high school track or cross country and looking for a good solid daily trainer. The Pegasus 37 is what I've been recommending. On the other hand, I've been recommending the Clifton 7 for someone that's looking to put in longer miles. If you're looking to put in more miles, you want a little bit more comfort to soak up some of that road impact from those high mileage weeks. I'm really pushing people towards the Clifton 7 because it's excelling towards that, especially with that Ortholite liner in there. It's really designed to soak up miles day after day, week after week, and really be able to tackle all those long runs. Both of these shoes are more snug than I'd like to see for either of these two models. Now I know that each of these shoes kind of has a different pedigree and a different kind of signature characteristic in terms of the feel, but for this year in 2020, I think each of them is still a bit too snug. The Pegasus 37 is much more snug of the two if you're comparing them, but I still feel like the Peg 37 could use a little bit more room. We've gone through a couple of different widths or fits of the Pegasus in the last couple of years. I wouldn't say it's too snug, but it's definitely something to get used to if you've not run in Nikes before. The Clifton is normally known as like a wide foot friendly shoe. This year I don't think that's the case. When I put it on, I felt like it was more snug than it needed to be, and I think more snug than other Cliftons have been in the past. And I think that it's still a great fitting shoe, just not as wide as I was thinking it was going to be for this year. So for both of these shoes, they're a little bit on the snug side. Now, the other way to kind of think about these two shoes when I'm comparing them head to head is that I think that one is firm and the other is cushioned, and I've kind of alluded to that already. It's the React foam in the Pegasus 37 that's really adding to that sense of firmness. There's a bunch of it in here, and I said it was only 18 millimeters of stack height in the forefoot, but with that 10 millimeter drop, you've got 28 millimeters of pure React foam. So you're getting just a bunch of React foam. It's nice and bouncy and it lasts forever, but it is a heavier material. And that's, I think, what's contributing to a lot of the extra weight that the Pegasus has gained for 2020. Because of that firmness though, it does make for a really spirited ride. And what I find that is whenever I'm riding in the Pegasus, kind of like the same amount of effort naturally gets me going just a little bit faster. And I also think like the overall kind of like equilibrium state of the shoe, like the pace that the shoe wants to run, is a little bit faster than kind of my average like daily pace. So I do find myself running just a little bit quicker in this shoe, which again kind of ties back into the recommendation for someone looking for like a 5K, 10K training shoe. Pegasus is usually a great place to start for a lot of people. And this year I think definitely lives up to that legacy. And with all that springiness of the React foam that's in here, I do think that if you're also going to take this shoe for workouts, you could even take it onto the track. I think it would be fine there. But if you're doing fartleks, threshold, or intervals out on the roads, I think that this is a great shoe to bring with you because it does have that bounciness to it. On the other hand, there's that cushioned aspect of the Clifton 7, which I think makes it a little bit more relaxed. Combined with the 5 millimeter heel drop, I just think it makes for a little bit more of a relaxed running position. There is the fact that it has the early stage meta rocker, which makes you pick up your foot just that little bit faster. And it is a lighter shoe coming in at 9.1 ounces. So it is a shoe that even on this run, in the footage that you saw today, I was able to put in some surges going up the hills, and the shoe responded very well, and I didn't feel like it was slowing me down. It's still overall, because it's a wider shoe and it's got that 5 millimeter drop, is not necessarily the first shoe that I would reach for when I'm thinking about kind of a long fartlek or a long threshold kind of day, but it is something that can definitely handle that task. Overall though, when it comes to which shoe I like better, when I pit the two against each other, it's really close for me, but I do think that I'm gonna pick the Pegasus 37 as the better shoe of the two. The main reason for me being that it's gonna be more consistent of an experience from fresh out of the box to end of life. And I think that's really gonna come down to the decision to use React foam in the midsole this year. React foam just lasts forever. I feel like you get a lot more mileage out of it than the Cushlon that previously was in the Pegasus for several years before this. And I think it's also going to be much more consistent of an experience than the EVA of the Hoka Clifton is going to be able to provide as well. So I think because you're going to get a really good experience right out of the box, and that experience is going to continue throughout the life of the shoe, I am going to give the slight edge to the Pegasus 37. So those are my thoughts on these two shoes head to head. Let me know if you agree or completely disagree. I'd love to know and hear about it in the comments down below. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for making it all the way to the end of the video. Hopefully you guys are staying safe out there on your runs, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yo, what's going on?